There are so many different definitions of showing up. There's so many different definitions of being there. Well, which one's the right one? Well, my guest for you tonight is going to tell us and show us. Let's play a little show and tell on the Brian Snow Show. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Brian Snow Show. My guest and I talked before we came on the air about what it means to show up, and I thought I had the definition. But as my wife tells me often, and most of the time she's joking, you're just wrong. Well, I was wrong here, and the person who writes said definition in the form of a book called Becoming Bulletproof tells us why. Please help me welcome Dwayne Morton. What's up, Dwayne?
Man? I'm good, man. I'm doing fantastic. First thing I want to say is thank you to the listeners. I just believe time is the most valuable commodity. And so when someone gives me their time, I just have to say with the utmost gratitude, thank you. So I want to say thank you to listeners. And of course, Mr. Snowman, thank you for having me on. So the name of the book is it's going to be The Bounce Back Blueprint, Become Bulletproof. So that's the name of the full title.
The Bounce Back Blueprint. Everybody goes through some things, and anyone who has tuned into the show the past 2 years knows I've gone through some things health-wise, mentally, emotionally. The Bounce Back Blueprint. How'd you come up with that title?
Yeah, man. So the way I came up with the title is I'm a huge fan of basketball, and me having a former international basketball player, basketball was a huge part of my life. And, part of the story is I was driving down the road and a bullet hit the truck that I was driving, and it was very close to taking me out, man. And so what I was trying to conceive with the cover was that like I really got hit, like my innocence got hit, or, my soul. It wasn't my physical body, but, my mindset took a hit. And if you see, it's just got a huge bullet hole in the middle of the basketball. And I was trying to convey that. And what I was also conveying was the basketball identity was dead. Like I was trying to shed it. And so that actually happened a few weeks ago. But also what it did was it gave me the opportunity to grow and to have this bulletproof mindset. And so it's a little different because when you have a bulletproof mindset, you're wanting to win the day. And my program is called Show Up to Win. And I believe showing up is just showing up in attendance. Like that's what people tell you all the time. I've argued this with a ton of people. Just be in attendance. No, that's not enough. You need to actually be there with an intention and being present. And being present doesn't mean being on your phone, doesn't mean like thinking about what you and your wife are going to cook. Like it's actually just being present to the information and being present to where you are. And then there's a part of acceptance. You have to also accept where you're at.
Being present, a part of showing up. For a long time, I would never put those two things together because, as you and I talked before we came on the air, a lot of people think showing up, myself included, was just showing up and just and not being present and just thinking, okay, I'm here now what? Well, the now what is the being present. Now what is why you're there in the first place. And that intention to win, those three key words, it's a part of sports, it's a part of life. Intention to win. That's key. That should be key for everybody, sports or not, shouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of my program is teaching people how to win, because most people think it's about winning the shiny things and those type of things. And like can see over here, I have the win thing. It's patina, it's beat up. Like if you really want to win, you have to go through some stuff. and just to take the to show up in part. So like, for me playing basketball, people would say I'm working out, I'm doing all this stuff at gym, and really, man, they were just goofing off. So that was another part of where I feel like I was able to bring showing up to, like, hey, when I'm at the gym, I'm at the gym working out and I'm working on the craft. And so same thing with winning. I believe winning is winning the day. When I finish the day, I won that day. And you can do that by just winning one task and building and becoming consistently onto that task and build, you know, I like to I have like a big thing of like royalty. So I'm always like I'm building my castle, I'm building my empire. And so I'm building it brick by brick, but consistently I'm building a brick every day. And so that also comes into that bulletproof mindset.
Why is it so tough to people to grasp that concept? Just not just showing up, but showing up with not only with the intention to win, but to be present. I know you talked about this. We had a few notes before we came on. Mindset, resilience, and integrity. The integrity for me is the biggest part of it because a friend told me a long time ago. My wife reminds me of this every day. Having the integrity while you're building a craft is so important.
Yeah, man. So integrity is like one of the is actually my core principle. That's the number one principle is integrity. How I show up with the lights on, lights off is really how you really show up. But a lot of people do a lot of different things when the lights are off. When people aren't watching, hey, I don't really work out. Like, hey, I'm not really walking today. I told you that on social media I walked 2 miles. Like,
Mhm.
you know, stuff doesn't add up. For me, is like I'll tell you, I'm in a morning routine. My morning routine is gonna happen, rain, snow, sleet, whatever. And I'm not gonna falter now. There's injuries, those type of things. Like you can't, I'm not gonna go out there with a sprained ankle and try to walk or run and those type of things. But that's really what it is, man, is having that mindset and knowing that like what I'm giving, I'm also receiving. And same thing with when you work out or when you walk, lose stress. There's those type of things. And I think people don't really take into account that part. And so integrity is just doing what you say you're gonna do. Like so many people talk the game, but they really rarely walk it. And I'm one of those type of people, man. I've walked it. I've got the t-shirt while I walked. I mean, like, all these challenges I've had, I've actually really went the extra mile. And then also my integrity part, I never did anything that would take away the integrity that my family instilled in me. Also, that's another huge point.
I am relearning about the definition of integrity thanks to you, thanks to the folks that have been with me after my battle with cancer and other health issues. And what I discovered at the top of this year, when the year turned over, is that lately I've talked it, but I haven't walked it. So I decided beginning January 1st of this year, and it's held true every day, I'm going to do one extra thing, small or large, that would not only help build the empire, but to get me back into my integrity. And is it tough sometimes? For me, yes. And the reason I say it's tough for me because if people take a walk in my shoes and realize what I've been through, not just in the past 3 years, but in the course of my life, you get knocked down a lot. It's whether you get up or not. And for a long time, I can honestly say I didn't. But after talking to you and talking to a few others, not only am I back up, I'm challenging today. And you're going to start a coaching program with it, which I absolutely love, and I can't wait to be a part of. What gave you the idea to turn it into a coaching program?
The coaching program has been a thing that has been something I really wanted to do at the very beginning. And I really got caught up on the how part rather than just the doing.
Mhm.
But I coach every day. I talk to people and like people reach out to me all the time and like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Like, can you help me? This is actually going to be where the community is going to come in and we're going to have a group Zoom and you're going to ask the question that you need help on or support. I'm going to coach you, but the other people are going to be able to celebrate you and support you by just being intentional and being present and showing up and listening to others and learning from others. One thing that I learned about community coaching is that normally the people who really want the help got it from someone else's question or their circumstance. And then they realize, holy shit, my circumstance is nothing. I mean, so one of the things I think that people are drawn to me or captivated by my story, I didn't make a choice or decision that created these consequences. And I think that's the other part. You had said something. So there's a aspect of my story where I just have said, I own everything, every decision I made. That's me. Everything else that happened, there's nothing else I can do. But every time that, like, so with the shooting, I could have turned right and went and got ice cream. That was the initial purpose. But instead I drove straight to go to the bank first. I could have swapped those, and we're not going through that part of the story, right? But I was supposed to go through that story, Snow. That's the thing. I was supposed to go through it. And once I realized that that was part of the purpose, part of me being in the forge, part of the being the bloom process. And a lot of people when they were like, "Oh, you can be Excalibur." Well, Excalibur goes through a lot of different parts of the forge that the other swords didn't. It needs to be hardened. It needs to be sharp. That's what happened to me. And that's not my choice. That's just being anointed. And you know, for a long time I would have ran from that and said, "No, I'm not being anointed. I'm owning everything," because I feel like if I don't, I'm letting other people down. But more importantly, Snow, I'm letting myself down. And I'll say that again, I'm letting myself down. And when I realized that, that was when I showed up even stronger. Oh, I 75 hard is pretty damn difficult. I don't
Mhm.
know if you're familiar with it, but like it's very difficult for most people. Most people fell it. And I was talking to somebody about 75 hard, and I'm like, I think I already do this. And they're like, every day? I was like, yeah, for a year. I was like, now when I hurt my knee, that's a little different. I was like, I wasn't able to run or walk. I was like, but the physical part, I was like, I didn't do, but I was, that's the aspect that people just don't understand is some people are just built differently. And the self-discipline part, but you can learn from someone like myself and then implement it into your life.
Little habits that I've begun to change, my wife and I, eating better, getting up and walking every day, communicating with each other because, Jody has said it, I've said it, and it's so true today, with the stresses of life, it's so easy to fall into a routine and you disconnect from each other. One of the things that I am totally changing is on non-game nights because I do play by play as well. I'm in bed at a certain time, to have a little while with my wife. We sit and talk and laugh and everything, and then get to sleep at a decent time. I know that has been one of my biggest fallacies is staying up till 2 in the morning, working on projects and keep convincing myself this is going to help. This is going to help. Well, it's not going to help if you're dead tired the next day. And I host the show 5 days a week, two of them, as a matter of fact, because this one's going to go 5 days a week. But it's not fair. And Dwayne, I love the way you said it because I am guilty of this myself, is letting myself down. And if I let myself down, I let my family down. Like I said, at the top of the new year, I said, no, no more. I just said no more.
Yeah. So, Snow, one thing is I believe in grace. And if you believe in grace, you have to extend that to others and yourself. And honestly, extending to yourself is very difficult at first. But then you realize, oh, there's this other part of this. So what I would say is I'd like for you to just take that in account as being like, okay, in the past I did this. I'm not going to do it now. I choose differently. And by
Mhm.
choosing differently, that is a commitment. And you stay in that commitment. So like we're on the 7th day of January. Most people have either A already quit their New Year's resolution.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, I believe, is the day that most people drop off and stop. But most people don't make it a month, let alone, a couple of weeks. And I think that's the other part is you hear people say, "Oh, I'm going to do this." The only thing that's stopping them is them. You can either
Yes.
do it or
Or
don't.
not. Mhm.
Yes. And the thing is it's just as easy to do it as it is to not do it. But it's a choice and it's a commitment that you're making to yourself.
Commitment, choice, resilience. I've had to learn about my resilience, especially in the past 3.5 years. And I didn't know how much my resilience would be tested, especially mentally. And thinking about what you said just a moment ago, you make a choice. Every day is a choice. Every day has little choices within the day. Are you going to honor your commitment to what you're doing, or are you going to stop, or you can even try again? That's why a long time ago I stopped making resolutions at the top of each year, because somehow I mess up and I don't stick to it. Now, if I mess up, I learn from where I messed up and then take it into the new day. It's a simple thing to do, but it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, it's all based on convenience. We've allowed our society is so soft and the fact that we believe in convenience. I mean, so let's
Mhm.
just look at it this way. Fast food restaurants, look at the way that they were you had to go there, then it was like you would stop, there's a car hop, and then that wasn't good enough, then you have a drive-through, now drive-through isn't enough, then you got,
Right?
all these things. It's
Mhm.
just convenience.
Yeah.
People don't even realize what they've allowed themselves to get into, and, like, now you have the microwave and, all those things. But truly, your life, you're the person that's in control of it. And when you take ownership and say, "This is my life, this is what I choose, this is those type of things," it's a lot easier when you stick to those commitments. Because guess what? Then you get to celebrate it. Then you're excited about celebrating it, and then you tell somebody, and you usually inspire somebody. And so here's the other thing, Snow, is like we're in different circumstances. I'm a single guy, never been married, no kids.
Mhm.
You are married, so you have someone else, a partner. What's going to happen is you're going to inspire her by your actions, or she's going to inspire you by your actions, because there's a partnership, there's a divine union. So that's the other aspect, is when you're able to have someone else to lean on. Maybe the day isn't that great. So here's the thing: I've done this all on my own. Like, no one wakes me up and says, "Hey, you should walk today. Hey, you should read a book. Hey, you should do all this stuff." I read over 100 books last year. Now, some of those were audiobooks, but the point is the information was put into my mind. And
Mhm.
so when people say, "Hey, like when I hear you on a podcast, like, wow, it looks like you've done a lot of work." Yes,
Yep.
but I don't do it for the spotlight. I'm
Mhm.
doing it to be that sharper sword to help others like yourself and so many people. And that's the thing is my purpose isn't about like, "Hey, look at me. Hey, I
Right.
was shot at. I was all these things." No, my purpose is and you know me from the very beginning. It was always, how can I help and how can I support you? It's always been just
Yep.
like the intro music. I was inspired to, hey, let's see if I can make you an intro song.
That intro precedes every one of my play-by-play broadcasts, and my friends listen to it, and some others listen to it and say, "Hey, where'd you get that? My friend Dwayne did it for me." And you've gotten many there have been many compliments thrown your way because of that, because it's a perfect identity for who I am. But now, with that in place, and with this in place, and I thank you 100 million times over for that song, because it is a perfect identity. But now I want to help you get your coaching out there, your book out there, and everything. So if you ever need a vehicle, you have it right here and now. And I mean every single word of that. I mean it.
Man, I appreciate it. That's the whole thing, is like helping and supporting each other. So, this journey has been definitely different, man. I will be honest. Like, basketball was like so much easier because other people had done it. Like,
Hmm.
that was the thing, was like, I was like, I had to create from how do you go from being misdiagnosed for 18 and a half years? I didn't have no mentors to be able to say, "Oh, I've done it." So that
Right.
was another thing. Same thing with the police shooting, like, how do I explain this? How do I explain this near death experience that like I'm experiencing PTSD, survivor's guilt, all these things? There was no one. And so what it made me do, Snow, is it made me journal. It made me do the inner work that most people are afraid of doing. What does Dwayne really want right now? Like what if I had $1 million, what would I do with it? Like those
Mhm.
type of thoughts that produce those type of outcomes where you just sit there and you're just writing and you're feeling better because you're like, I can dream now. And that was really what my health gave me, was being able to dream now. And that's why people are so want to connect with me all the time and want me on their podcast and want me to, the book was created because I wanted to support people, to show them the things that I did to get through my trauma, to get through those things. But also I wanted other people to see that there's a different side of the fence. There's a greener pasture on the other side when you just let shit go, when you just forgive to just forgive,
Yep.
grace for grace. And I tell that to everybody, and people are like, how did you do that? And I would say that it wasn't easy though. It wasn't. It was just a decision I made it and was like, how can I do this differently? And how can I have the best true outcome of the whole thing?
I'm applying it to whenever I organize a game or an event and get it together, because I can honestly tell you, when I really started diving into doing my games on YouTube 3 years ago, there were different ideas for thumbnails I'd use, for introductions and everything. But then when I settled into one style of thumbnail, one style of description, one style of music to use, no matter what the sport I'm covering, going back to what we talked about earlier in the evening, making a decision, I had to learn to forgive myself for having a brain and having those ideas and wanting to stick with one pattern, wanting to stick with what you want to do.
Forgiveness for yourself, man, is the most important thing. Like, so when you forgive people, you're really not forgiving them. You're forgiving you for allowing that thing to happen. And when
Yes.
you accept that peace, that like, I, I'm really sorry that I allowed myself to get into that situation. That gives you a whole different perspective. That
Is it?
gives you the chance to walk from that 6 to that 9 and be like, okay, I kind of see where their point now. I
Yep.
see why they're upset at me. But guess what? Like, we're good. This is over with, and that's fine. And there's so many people that I've reconnected to in my past, and I was like, hey, we had a disagreement, we had an argument, but like, guess what? Like, I'm a different person now. You're a different person now. Let's just let it go, and like, we're fine. Like, we don't, when we see each other, throw, wave at each other, but we're not like looking to be an integral part of each other's life either.
Right. Right. Well, we're up against time here, but I'd like to offer this to you, a weekly spot on the show to discuss even further, not just your book, but to take one of your lessons and bring it to the audience here to help people go forward, myself included. I would really love to have that part of it.
Yeah, so I don't know about like time constraints. Like that's the biggest thing. I mean, like as long as it's a I feel like it's an alignment, sure. Like I feel like that something that I could do is something like that.
Mhm.
I get asked to do so much. That's what I was gonna say, man. Like I get asked to do so much. Like on
Understood.
podcast on podcast last year, I started at 0 and I finished at 120.
Mhm.
Also have my own show. Like that's
Yeah.
another thing. I put like 20 episodes out. And this year, my goal is to have 4 podcasts out. One is going to be the continuation of Show Up to Win, where I spotlight other resilient stories. Number
Mhm.
2 is going to be this journey where I'm talking and connecting the dots for people to see where I started and all that. And then the third one is going to be a business podcast because most people don't realize how talented business I am. My parents, I was very fortunate to grow up in a small business household, but also I'm in Jim Rohn's mentor tree. Jim mentored my mentor, Melvin Turner Sr., and Melvin Turner Sr. mentored Jim Rohn in public speaking. And so I have that one. And then I have a fourth one that's a top secret project that I won't say anything because,
Fair enough.
but yeah. But yeah,
Fair.
as long as it's time constraint, man, I have no problem showing up. So right now it's the 7th. I've
Mhm.
already recorded 10 episodes on a podcast already in 7 days.
Mm, man, I can't wait to like have this show and podcast really take off because now I'm refocused and recommitted to it. No, let me take the re out of that. I'm committed to it. I started it on a whim, realized I need to put a foundation under it, and now the foundation is built. It took me 2 years. Now I'm ready to really, really go forward with it. And I thank you for being one of the first guests of this new edition of the Brian Snow Show. I really appreciate you. I love you dearly. And I stand by my words. Each week, come on, talk about something that you bring to your a lesson that you bring to your audience, be it resilient or mindset or whatever. I'd love to have it, and I want us to work. I want us to work that out. I truly, truly do, and I
Yeah,
truly
man.
appreciate
So,
you coming on.
so I'll tell you what I always tell people is I just let God allow it and let it kind of take over and let the plan come on. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, like my heart is my heart, man. Like I truly would show up to everybody's stuff all the time. But I just realized last year, like I have to be able to take some time for myself.
Yep.
Also, I finished a children's book, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
be releasing that. So I'll have definitely be coming on to tell you more about that part. But like, man, my life is like I'm 100 mile an hour a day. And like when I tell people
I
all
get
the
that.
time, so when I tell people that I live each day to the fullest, like they just have no idea what I do. I'm getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to bed at like 10:30, 11, and sometimes later. But
Hmm.
what I'm doing is like I'm giving everybody my all as much as I can, and at the same time taking some time for me, taking some time of
Yep.
to be able to be creative. That was the word I was looking for. I'm taking that time and be creative. And before I really didn't know how creative I was. And so I'm just getting to learn about myself. And it's a wonderful, beautiful thing.
That is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Today's show is brought to you in part by Climb for Chris, a benefit benefiting our friend Chris Hilliard, who is recovering from a brain tumor. You can go to snowmanmultimedia.com or climbforchris.com to learn more. There's an event in Chicago that'll take place on March the 1st, and we're going to be there for that. Dwayne Morton is my guest this evening. Thank you very much, my friend. I love you, and I truly appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And again, thank you so much for the listeners.
Brian Snow Show is a presentation of Snowman Multimedia.